Hi everyone, my name is Sumaya Ahmed and I am the Virtual Content Specialist for 7th grade Science. This video will review tips on how to create a differentiated research guide for students. So this video is a continuation of another video on how to guide student research, but I will still provide a quick recap of what I discussed in the first video. So why do we need to guide student research? So here are some reasons. Number one, students can have access to false information online, which we do not want them to use for their learning and research projects. Students usually rush and use the first resource they find online without evaluating it or questioning its reliability. And lastly, students do not understand the information presented to them in some of these resources. So all of this can lead to plagiarism, poor learning outcomes, and confusion. So today I'm going to show you a way I guide student research using a differentiated research guide, which includes student choice. So I started doing this with my middle school students for classes who I felt needed extra supports. And this is a lesson I do with my students when we are learning about cells and cell organelles. And we learn about cell organelles, and students are tasked to write a poem about a cell organelle using figurative language based on their research. So they're asked to use figurative language elements, they're asked to use what they learned about cell organelles and write a short poem about what they learned about the organelle. So it's a creative way to learn about cell organelles, and students really enjoy it. So this strategy does require some more planning and research on the teacher's end, but it is extremely helpful for students who struggle with doing independent research or don't know how to even start their research. So first, I look for resources differentiated into 3 different levels: approachable, medium, and challenging. So you will have to know your students in order to make this decision based on their student work and your observations from students, and this can vary for any groups of students. So your approachable, medium, and challenging for one class may look different from another. Usually I try to stay consistent, but if you want to change it up, you can. So again, I make a handout like this, and I have whatever resources I give them, I differentiated it into 3 different levels. So I asked students to choose an organelle for this lesson and learn more about it, the role, the structure, the function in the cell to help them with their poems at the end. So this is the part where they select the organelle and they have the choice of which organelle they want to work on. And here I put suggested websites for research. So these are the links, and I labeled them as approachable, medium, and challenging. So this is the first link right here from CK12, and I'm going to show you how I determine which one is approachable, medium, and challenging for my class. So the approachable link looks like this. And I chose to include this as approachable because it has clear images, as you can see here. And there are bullet points. A lot of the information are in bullet points rather than paragraphs of information. The pictures are labeled clearly, and there is a summary at the end. So this is the resource that I chose to use as approachable. So students will go to this link, and if they find that this is the resource that they want to use, if they feel comfortable with it, they will use it. If it seems too easy for them, they will have the choice to move on to the medium level resource. So the medium level resource looks like this. It is from sciencing.com, and they have all these different paragraphs. Okay, so over here they talk about prokaryotic cells. There's also a section where they talk about eukaryotic cells. And there's a lot of information here. So it does have visuals, okay? It does have bullet points, but it's a little bit more dense, and it's for students who want a little bit more information than the first link, which is approachable. And what I like about it is they tend to define certain words, such as hydrophilic, hydrophobic, which are words that students may not be familiar with right away when they learn about cells. So they still do define certain words. They still do have images, not as much. It's more text heavy, but it is a little bit more challenging than the one previously, and some students may prefer this one, and they have the choice to use this source as well. And the last resource is a challenging level resource. So I knew this would be more challenging because they have a lot of information here. There are visuals. So all of these three resources have visuals. They're a little bit more complex, and they do have a table with the organelle function, and they compare it to a factory part. But as you can see, again, this is a little bit more text heavy, and most of this information is in like dense paragraphs and chunks of information, which some students may be intimidated by when they're first starting off their research. However, I know some students who prefer using the more challenging sources, and they prefer learning more about it because they have more questions. So they have the choice of using the challenging resource. So that is how I differentiate the research ideas for students, and this is based on my observations of the skill level of my students and what I have seen that they're comfortable with. So you can also differentiate video resources, which I do here. Okay, so I look for videos. Again, it's planning on your part because you will have to find 3 different videos, one approachable, medium, and then challenging. Some videos I've seen students do not like if it's too easy and they just don't pay attention. So I give them the choice to see which video that they prefer watching, so they can learn from it. So this strategy is helpful for students because first, you are differentiating the content for them. You're providing a starting point for their research and helping them start their research project. So this way you are catering to different learning styles and learning abilities. Second, you are making this a more enjoyable learning experience. Besides everyone just watching one video or reading one article together, you are allowing students to make their own decision. They can maybe work with a partner, someone sitting in their table, or even if they're working on a remote activity, they can work with a partner, and they can choose one resource together. Sometimes I label them as mild, medium, and spicy, similar to the vocabulary used to describe hot sauce. And students like to challenge themselves to answer the spicy question because when we have a share out at the end, they get to share out their answer for the spicy question. So it's something that students enjoy, having that choice. And this process also empowers students to take a more active role in their learning. For students to check out all these resources and make that decision of which one they will use for their project, it gives them more autonomy and also makes them more self-aware. So I would also like to point out something important about the wording I use. I try my best not to use the words easy, medium, and hard because students will just tend to use the easy or medium one so they could just complete their activity and get an easy answer. And that's why I try to get creative on how I describe the resources. So you can also use this technique while asking questions during their research. So if you are thinking about research questions and you want to differentiate your research questions, you can do that too. So I have an example here. Sometimes for an exit ticket, I will have 3 different levels of questions and students choose which one they want to answer. So here I have an example. This is a different lesson that I did for for genetics. So I have the questions labeled mild, medium, and spicy, and I do like to put like pictures of chilies just to show visual. And as you can see, they increase in difficulty as you go to the spicy level question. So again, students can have the choice on which one they want to answer. So to summarize, creating a differentiated research guide can help students get a head start on their research projects while also incorporating student choice and increasing engagement. You can differentiate anything to help them for their research projects, such as articles, videos, or research questions. Thank you for watching.